This is Big Phil, and I want to welcome you to another episode of Collections in Black. You know, this is one of those books where, you know, I gotta get personal with it. The word grail is thrown around way too often when we talk about collecting. We sit back and we'll take some of our personal wants and sometimes some of our needs or things that we really want to obtain, and we call them a grail. But those aren't really grail books. Today I'm going to talk about a book that is not only a grail, but is significant when it comes to African American culture. The book that we're talking about today is Picture News number 6. Picture News number 6 featured no other than heavyweight champ Joe Louis. This book has such a big significance. We could talk about this forever. Not only is it a golden age book with an African American on the cover, it is also the first depiction of a black man featured in a positive manner. And I wanted to break that down like that because it's very important that we understand the time frame that we're talking about. We're talking about during the golden age of comics, where we weren't presented in the best of light, if we're going to be honest. There's a lot of negative imagery, negative stories that come with that particular age. And, you know, I'm not making any excuses for it, because some of that is some bull. All of it is bull, really. So when you look at this particular book, this is more than just something for comic collectors. You know, this is actually a grail piece. This is a rare book. There's under 10 of these on the census. Let me say that again. On the CGC census, on the entire planet, there are only 10 of these graded that exist. Are there more books ungraded sitting out there? Of course there are. Of course there are. But when we're talking about graded, there are only 10. This is a grail book. This is not only just a African American grail comic piece. This is a grail piece for comic collectors, period. This book crosses so many different lanes and different paths, but it all comes back together. If you're a sports collector, you should have this book. If you're just a boxing collector, you should want to have this book. If you're a Joe Louis fan or collector, you should want to have this book. If you're a comic book collector or a fan, you should want to have this book. If you're a Black history buff, you should want to have this in your collection. There are so many reasons why you should have this book in your collection, or you should at least attempt to have this particular piece in your collection. Picture News number 6 is one of those comics that is severely undervalued, and it's a book that I believe at some particular point in time, people will catch on, and this book is going to rise. Hey, you know, don't say I didn't tell you that this book is going to rise in price, because I'm telling you, come check back on this video a couple years from now, you're going to sit back and say, this price has gone crazy. If you see Picture News number 6, make sure you get a copy. Do yourself a favor, grab one. Trust me, I know what I'm talking about. I wouldn't tell you anything wrong.